Hello, welcome to our channel. We appreciate each and every one of you. It's the 28th of January.
We are almost out of January.
Almost out of January. And you deserve the right to know why the dollar's dying, why gold is at 5,300 and silver's at 115. You deserve to know why. The U.S. government, the federal government under Operation Devolution has gone completely underground. 100% totally underground. They've cranked up the 5G. And the sun is going nuts with a magnetic anomaly. So we're getting blasted with a really weird sunspot. And everybody across the country is feeling really tired today.
Including us.
Including us. So we bought some Noble Gold silver. We got 1 round, not 5 rounds. And some platinum just for fun. And since we bought it 2 weeks ago, it's gone up in value by $1,000. Gone from $75 to 115. The platinum's gone from 25 to 28 or something.
Well, I mean, the silver it in a week or so has gone up over $30 an ounce.
So we've made over $1,000 on that little bit of money. So we go to Noble Gold because I want gold and silver that I can trade it anywhere, and I know is real gold and silver. And when I say Noble Gold to gold dealers, they respect that, and they will turn it in for its value.
Yeah.
Of course, they take a commission in the libtard states. We have a 10% illegal tax on gold and silver.
Yeah, they've started taxing.
So that's what National Socialism does, the Nazis. Anyway, the central banks have announced...
Well, I want to say one other thing. Okay. The powers to be are really trying to squash people buying physical gold and silver.
Yes.
For one, like the libtard states are charging taxes. Mm-hmm. And on your purchases.
And it's shutting down tens of thousands of small businesses. And because the National Socialists, the Nazis, the Democrats, are appointed by the CIA, are implementing all kinds of nasty taxes on gold and silver dealers.
Right, and they've anticipated that. So what they've done now is they've convinced the banks to not do wire transfers to the gold companies. So they've been discouraging that.
So they're illegally violating federal law, and
the banks are in cahoots.
Huh?
The banks are in cahoots with it.
And J.P. Morgan announced, along with the other banks, Wells Fargo, Bank of America, Merrill Lynch, that they're turning away from the dollar. They're absolutely turning away from the dollar. This is a billion, trillion, jillion, trillion. I can't even count that high.
Well, I zeroed in. You wanted me to zero in on the board because the writing is kind of small, and so you're going to be cut off a little bit, but they're going to be able to see what you've got written.
Now, they used to call the Nazis the Nazis. National Socialists. Socialism, capitalism, communism is all Satanism. We haven't been a capitalist society since the Federal Reserve System took over. That was in 1913. They killed everybody on the Titanic who opposed it, like the Abercrombies, and then they started the Federal Reserve System, which is a private bank owned by the Rothschilds, Zig Heil. They're the National Socialists. So the control grid they've set up with the IMF, the UN, the World Bank, all that, costs the United States about $1 trillion a year. Did you know that, Jane?
No.
The IMF, the World Bank, all of that costs we, the taxpayers, $1 trillion a year. The Marshall Plan, we've been giving Europe $2 trillion a year.
Yeah.
Under every Democrat that there has been.
Well, he's trying to get out of that.
Yeah, he got out of it. That's why the European economy is collapsing.
Mad. Yeah.
We have private debts of $20 trillion. Well, let's go back to this a little bit.
Number 2.
Number 1, the control grid. They set up a massive control grid. The Chicago Mercantile Exchange bought a whole lot of corporations, and they merged with the LBMA, London Bullion Market Association, and they're switching the world reserve currency from London to New York and then to Beijing. Unfortunately, communism in Beijing is falling apart. So they've all gone underground and they don't care. That's why we're looking at a conflict in Venezuela, Greenland, Iran, all over the Ukraine, all over the world, because they're all underground and they don't give a rat's rip about us. Operation Devolution. That was our first TV show.
Yeah, they just want to survive themselves.
They'll survive.
Yeah.
It's kind of like Fallout, where they have underground shelters and they destroy the surface population.
Yep.
That's what Fallout was put out for, to warn you. So we have home debt about $20 trillion, corporate debt about $5 trillion, but I think it's a lot larger. College loans at about $2 trillion. They lie about the numbers now.
2.7 trillion? Oh, we're in debt more than that.
27 trillion in debt.
Oh, 27 trillion.
It was never meant to be paid off. Corporate debt, this is the key. General Motors is $140 billion in debt. They borrowed about $10 billion to stay.
So I want to go back to, I want to revisit number 3.
Okay.
So number 3 is, what is that first line there?
That first line is home debt.
Okay, so this is the people, the actual people's debt. We the people's debt.
That's right.
Okay.
And they say there's $4 trillion in...
So you got this broken down into different categories.
$4 trillion in commercial loans. But I think that's closer to $40 trillion. I think they lie about that.
Well,
and that $40 trillion is only worth about $2 trillion now because the commercial buildings are only worth 5% of what they were built for. And this is how your pensions are funded. And now we get into college loans. It's not 1.7 trillion. It's close to 2 to 2.5 trillion. The government lies.
Yeah, that was a bummer thing.
Well, what he did was he monetized it so you can't declare bankruptcy. Right. So college promises you a job. You go through the college. You owe $100,000.
Dangled the free money.
Yep, they dangled the free money. You get out of college and say, "You lied. I'm declaring bankruptcy.
Because I can't get a job now."
I can't get a job.
We knew that.
We knew that. We just lied to you to get you money. We're from the government. We're here to help. So it's closer to maybe 3 trillion. So let's just say 27 trillion, not 47 or 50 trillion.
You got 27.
I got 27 trillion.
Okay.
Now this is the key.
Now this is the next one, which is corporation debt.
Corporate debt. Corporation debt. Okay. All those Fortune 500 stocks follow this model. General Motors had to borrow about $10 billion a year just to stay in business this year. So the corporate debt went from 130 to 138 billion. Okay, you follow that. They had to have, maybe they borrowed 8 billion. It doesn't matter. It's a huge number. You and I can't even think that high.
No.
And I was promised a 10% commission on $2 billion if I started a country that would start a nuclear war. And I told the FBI to kiss my rear. So they're $140 billion in debt. And then they have $80 billion in stocks out, which is a debt. And they have to pay on their debt. They pay about 8% on their debt through their stocks this year. So they're $220 billion in debt. Okay? Now, you multiply that by 500 stocks. Because all Fortune 500 stocks are like this. I checked out about 20 of them. They're all like this. That means that the corporate debt in America is $110 trillion. And the interest rate the corporations pay on the corporate debt is about 6% average. So they're paying about $7 trillion a year just on corporate debt. Now, out of the money that they make, a lot of it goes to BlackRock to sponsor world terrorism conflicts. Like China's been sent over $600 billion by BlackRock to build a navy and an army to challenge the United States. They can't afford to fuel their ships. If BlackRock were to pull out, if Trump had some gonads below the belt, China couldn't afford to fuel their ships. They're broke. All their corporations are like this. They're having to lend massive quantities of yen to their corporations to keep them going. That's hard to understand, isn't it?
No, not really. I mean, not really. It's just the numbers are staggering.
The Federal Reserve System, up here, the control grid, lends the banks, the major banks that are abandoning the dollar, trillions of dollars a year. That's called QE. And then they lend the corporations trillions of dollars a year.
Yeah, and then the corporations turn around and have the paid protesters cause trouble in civil war.
That's correct. The government has gone completely underground, and they don't give a dang what happens to us, and they're pulling the plug. Is there anything we don't understand? Example, they don't care if Trump dies.
They say, I mean, they're insurrectionists right
Twice now. I've warned Trump that Air Force One would go down, and twice it's gone down in the last 30 days. You think that the people in the White House care if Trump dies? No. They want Trump to die. That's the only logical conclusion. Why else would they not warn Trump of the lasers on Marine One? Why would they not warn Trump of the thumpity thump that we've talked about on YouTube and Brighteon and BitChute and dozens of other places? Why would they not warn him that the left tail wing on the Air Force One he's flying at is crystallizing? The joints are? Because they don't want him to live. That's the only logical conclusion. They're pulling the plug. So now we have government debt. This is just as hard to understand. Bill Clinton in 1992, 93, 94 timeframe, Jane, whenever he was in office, said, I'm not going to have the economy collapse on me. So what my brother told me was he started spending money we didn't collect for another year. Now the IRS revenues were $6 trillion a year when Trump was in office the first time. Now the IRS revenues are $1 trillion a year. Why? Because nobody's making any money. We're all on welfare. So between Trump 1 and Trump 2, we all got on welfare. Now, the government debt includes the deferred debt. We're now spending money we haven't seen until 2045. So we have $12 trillion a year times 20 years. That's $240 trillion in deferred debt. Now the government debt is at $40 trillion, and the Medicare debt is at $40 trillion. That makes a total of what? 240 plus 40 plus 40, $300 trillion of U.S. debt.
320, huh?
And it's 6% interest rate average. We're paying $18 trillion in interest rate payments alone per year.
Well,
we don't have that.
Have we already passed the point where our interest payment is more than what we're taking in?
Yes.
Okay.
So we're paying $18 trillion in interest. We're only taking in about $5 trillion for the whole government. So we long surpassed that under Biden was the nail in the coffin.
Yes, he was.
Only Biden, they had 18 Bidens. So Bill Ayers, the one who blew up a cop and blinded another one, San Francisco cop who became the chief of staff of the White House, the murdering freak, he was the chief of staff that put the nail in the coffin, destroy the United States. That was his goal since the day he was born, destroy the United States, and Bill Ayers is not in jail. Now we've got this issue, and I forgot to put this down.
A lot of people don't remember Bill Ayers, and so they brought him back after people don't even know who he is.
He killed a cop.
But we remember it.
He put gunpowder and nails in a pipe bomb
That's right.
and killed a San Francisco cop.
That's right.
And I forgot about this. We have 85 million collecting an average of $15,000 per month. Social Security refugees. Those are refugees. Now, I don't even know what that adds up to, but that's a lot of money. 85, that's what Social Security told me. 80 million, that was 15 years ago. 80 million people costing us 85 or 15,000 a month. That means we're spending something like 15 times 85, we're spending like $12 trillion a year just for the refugees. Only half of them live in the United States. So you, the taxpayer, are sending out $6 trillion overseas. Although, like my one friend who's Ukrainian, she keeps her dad's money and her mom's money. The other one, who's a lawyer, he sends the money to his parents. So about half of this is being sent overseas. So the United States is sending $6 billion of the 80 or of the 100, $6 trillion of the 80 or $100 trillion plus $2 trillion. The United States is funding about $10 trillion of the $100 trillion world GDP.
Now I know that
minus the United States, that's 80 trillion.
Yeah.
So the United States is boosting the world's gross domestic product artificially by about 15%.
I know that there are a lot of illegal, and this has been going on for years now. The illegal aliens have been sending money back home.
Yes.
And so you add that up, and it's been going on for years and years. And the government has looked the other way. And,
that's correct.
And but now it's really starting to add up.
And now an organic avocado, which we used to get as kids, is now $6. Used to be a nickel.
Well, when we were at the store, the regular avocados were $3.98 each, $4 a piece.
Yeah, they
for
used
an
to be a
avocado.
nickel.
Yeah, I know.
Bread was 11 cents a loaf when I was a kid.
I remember Mom used to get $10
for 10 loaves.
10 loaves for $1.
Yeah, $1, 10 cents a piece.
Yeah. Yeah.
So you're telling me that you can still get bread for 10 cents a piece? Eat my shorts, intelligence. So that we haven't even discussed, or the amount of money going overseas. Now we've discussed the government debt. That's costing us about $18 to $20 trillion a year in terms of interest. Now where's this money coming from? The control grid. The IMF, the Federal Reserve System, they give the Federal Reserve banks the money. The Federal Reserve banks give the Merrill Lynch, they give all of them all of this money. Now Merrill Lynch said 2 years ago they managed $400,000 trillion worth of money. I can't even put as many zeros on there as 400,000. Now multiply that by the 10 major banks. That's $4 million trillion they manage. $4 million trillion.
Well,
we could fill up this whole board with $4 million trillion zeros. And finally, Merrill Lynch. That's $4 million trillion. And the Jesuits said in the interview we read and we started reading about 10 years ago on television, that must have been 12, 15 years ago, television, on YouTube. They've only thrown me off 9 times for telling the truth.
Oh, that's not good. You're still.
You know,
You're under a dozen.
American investors bought TikTok, and all of a sudden there's all these words you can't say on TikTok. Zig Heil. Zig Heil. Zig Heil. All hail the masters. Satan. So, the idea is to destroy completely the United States of America, you, by the current existing regime, the 5'7" Trump.
Well, it's not just him. Look what Biden did.
Marco
He
Rubio.
shut everything down.
Yes, he did.
Everything. We have no production. Everything is shut down.
Good luck getting those silver mines operational because we dump toxic waste down the mines like at Well Pinnet.
Yeah.
Go to Spokane, look on the map, look a little bit to the left, look up above the river, and you have a little place called Well Pinnet. Look on the aerial photos. There's 2 mines that they're going to paint out, of course, because Google lies like a rug. And there are 2 mines they dump nuclear radiation down from Hanford. They just drive the trucks up there, dump it down. I've seen it in the photos. Just go north of Bonners Ferry. They take a train and they take carloads of nuclear waste north of Bonners Ferry and open the valves and back off. They put on Apollo 11 suits. They put on Apollo 11 suits when they add the poisons to our water in Tacoma.
That's right.
So they're poisoning the water, they're poisoning the air, they're poisoning the food purposely. They're dumping dead bodies with tuberculosis spores on our broccoli and our cauliflower. Yeah, this is all planned for the destruction of the world. They're all underground now on their deep underground bases. They have the food that they need. They have 100 years worth of food. They don't need surface dwellers anymore. Satan said they're going to reduce the population to 600 million people and power it with nuclear energy. Why do you think they shut down all the dams and the coal plants? To power the world with nuclear energy. Why do you think the uranium's going up in price? To power the world with nuclear energy. Okay.
Well, I have to say, you talk about gold and silver down there at the end.
Gold's 115.
No,
Silver
silver is 100.
Silver's 115. Gold's going to hit 5,500 this week, I think.
Oh, golly.
And this is so cool. You know, I love Noble Gold. God, I love. They said buy a platinum thing for an ounce. I said okay.
Because it's undervalued.
Yeah, it's a catalyst.
And that's got more shortages than gold and silver has.
Oh man, everybody knows that the CME, Chicago Mercantile Exchange, is now filled with a bunch of incompetent libtards. Along with the London Bullion Market Association, they can look at a computer and control the prices, but I think they're losing control because Singapore's in the act, and in Japan it's $120 an ounce. So it's going up in the rest of the world while the United States tries to hold the price down, but they can't hold it down anymore because about 30% of the world trade now is outside.
Well, if they hold the price down, and if they can control the price, that means that hey, we're strong. We've got the dollar, we're the reserve currency, and so that makes us look good.
They have to
but
drop.
they're not being able to control it anymore.
50% is the maximum.
And I'll tell you,
world
Martin
currency in dollar.
Armstrong says, you think we got it bad. He says the rest of the world, he's got major clients all over the world, huge, trillions worth of dollars. And he said, I told him to bring their money into the United States. It's safer here than any place else in the world at the moment.
That's scary because we have 85 million people sucking off the Social Security, getting $15,000 a month, while the average American gets $1,200.
I know, but yeah, think about that. Wow.
We're screwed, blued, and tattooed. Now, I've been told I'm not allowed to talk about the New World Order, but they can kiss my rear. Satan has always kissed my rear, invited me into his system. I just got invited into another human sacrificing cult.
What?
I'll tell you about it when we're off the air. It was quite an honor to be. It's quite an honor to be invited into Skull and Bones and worship Lucifer and conduct human you-know-whats. But anyway, so we have $4 million trillion out there, and that was 2 years ago. My guess is because of hyperinflation, it's somewhere around 800 million trillion. We're about to have a trillion. This is exactly what the people talked about in Germany when they started WW2. This is exactly what they tried to do with Germany, but they lost.
So what was Bill Holter saying the other day when we listened to his?
We're in deep trouble.
Yeah, he said he says that he was asked the question, do you think that we'll be able to suppress the silver? And he says, I don't know how they can. I don't know how they can. He says, we're out of it. And he said, they're not going to be able to control it. What are you doing?
It's blowing up.
Poof?
Poof.
Oh.
It's blowing
It
up.
looks
The
like
whole
the
system.
sunshine.
Oh, yeah. The whole system is going down. And it was meant to go down. Do you really think 4 billion or a trillion was ever meant to be paid off, Jane?
No, but so what ends up happening, I'm still bleh.
The little people get screwed.
The little people, exactly. Ooh, read my mind. Yeah, the little people get squeezed, and squeezed they are.
So the churches around the corner where everybody has $15,000 a month spent on them, and the little old people in this neighborhood that average $1,200 a month.
Ooh, that's the churches are being used
To bring in the illegals.
Mm-hmm. That's right.
Praise God and give me my welfare money.
Yep.
Yeah, when that welfare money cuts off, you can expect the churches to die. Anyway, God bless. Thank you very much. We appreciate each and every one of you. When you see these numbers, you're just going to shake your head. You're going to have to watch this video 2 or 3 times.
Well, it's a lot to absorb.
It is a lot, especially when you consider the corporate debt and then the government debt. It blows, and the private debt. It blows your mind. And I checked out so many corporations, and those numbers are correct. And they will not report this anywhere in the news. Nowhere. Totally censored. God bless. Thank you very much. We'll see you tomorrow about why we're going to have a conflict all over the world.